Hey guys, it's Kara from iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. I have this fun little Merry Christmas treat bag that I created, and I filled it up with some Hershey Kisses, and I thought that you would enjoy learning how to make this too. It's really simple. It's using the Be Merry Designer Series paper, which you can find in our annual catalog, and then this is the Merry Cafe stamp set, which is in our holiday catalog. So why don't we get started, and I'll show you all the supplies that we're going to use. But as a reminder, head on over to my blog, iStampin.com. Look for today's post, and you can download the project instruction sheet, and it will have all of the measurements listed, as well as all of the products that I've used to create this project. All right, so the first thing, oh, and before we get started, I wanted to show off something. Here are this little berries. I'm going to be using some product that you'll be able to get here next week. So be sure to stick around to see how I colored in these the little berry and holly leaves. And I do want to give a shout out to Twyla Davis. I saw this on a Facebook demonstrator group, and I thought this project was so cute, so I wanted to share it with you. All right, so what I've done is I have cut a piece of Be Merry Designer Series paper, so it's double-sided. I'm using this really pretty diagonal stripe with, it looks like snowflakes are splattered throughout the paper. But this measures 6 by 7 7/8. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some scoring first. So grab your Simply Scored scoring tool, and we are going to score it. So place your paper horizontally first, and we are going to score it at 3/8. And just as a reminder, our 1/8 marks are the little tiny tick marks. So it goes 1, 3, 5, 7. So we're going to come to the 3/8 and score, and then we're going to come to 2 7/8 and score, 4 1/8. And finally at 6 5/8. Now you're going to rotate it, and we are going to score it at 4 3/4 for the bottom part. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is just fold on all of our score lines, and make sure you use a bone folder, because especially since we're making a box, you really want to make sure that your score lines, or that your fold lines, are nice and crisp. Okay, and one more. All right, so now we're going to do some trimming. And here on the left side where I have that 3/8 inch mark, we're going to cut off this little rectangle right here at the bottom. So just cut that away. All right, and next on all of the score lines, we're going to cut up to that, to this horizontal score line. And then what you're going to do is just go in and just notch the inside pieces, and this just makes sure that when you're folding the box that you get really nice clean fit together. Oops, here. If that made sense, if what I just said made sense. My grammar was correct. So this is what our box should look like. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to use the Everyday Label Punch, which you can find in our holiday catalog, and we are going to create a little window right here. And so you want it to be about 1/2 inch from the score line, and you're gonna push the punch all the way in, and just punch that out, and that's going to create our window. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is to cut a piece of our window sheets 2 by 3, and this is going to go inside our box and just cover up where we punched out that piece, where we punched out in this panel. And I'm going to use our multi-purpose glue to adhere this. And I just do a thin line all the way around the edge. Whoops. The edge of the window sheet. And then I'll be able just to place that right there. And you'll want to let it set up just for a couple of minutes. All right, so while that's setting up, why don't we do our stamping? Okay, so I just have like a 4 by 3 piece of Whisper White cardstock. We're going to be using a Mary Cafe stamp set, and the stamps that you are going to want to get out is Mary and Christmas, and then these 2 little images. That's the berry and the leaves. I'm going to be using Memento Tuxedo ink to stamp the images, and I've got my Stampin' Pierce mat behind because these are photopolymer stamps. All right, so the first stamp I'm going to use is Christmas, so I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm just going to stamp that right here in the middle of the cardstock. I am going to be using my 1.5 inch punch. So I just want to make sure that I have enough room on the top and the bottom to punch it out. Okay, so now we're going to stamp Mary. And I kind of played around with this while I was making my sample, and I think that I liked it the best when the R was over the T. I thought that kind of gave it some nice positioning. So we're just going to place it right above the T. I went ahead and got another piece of cardstock because when I stamped Mary, it was crooked and it was driving me crazy. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is stamp the little berries right up here in the corner, kind of where we have this little notch of empty space. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mask the berries to be able to stamp the holly leaves behind it. So I'm going to show you how I do this. So I just have some Post-it tape, and I'm just going to stamp the berries again. And I'm just going to use my scissors, and this is just a rough cut. Doesn't have to be anything, you know, perfect. Just go around the image and, you know, try to cut it out to the best of your ability. But what this is going to be able to do is give the illusion that the leaves are behind the berries. Whoops, sorry. So this is just a fun little masking technique. So now I'm just going to use my scissors to help place this on there. And that's just going to go right there. Okay. So I just put the little Post-it note mask right there. Okay, now I'm going to come in with the little holly leaf and ink that up. And I'm going to put one right here. And then one right here. Okay, and so when I remove the mask, see, it's going to look like they're right behind the berries. Isn't that a cool little technique? Really easy. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, and I'm so excited to be able to show y'all this. Some of you may already seen some sneak peeks of what's going to be coming out November 1st, but I'm going to be showing y'all for the first time. Let me zoom out just a little bit. These are our brand new Stampin' Blends. These are alcohol markers, and November 1st they're going to be available. You'll get 2 to a set, so I'm going to be using Old Olive and Cherry Cobbler today. November 1st, like I said, is when you'll be able to order them. You can get them as a whole bundle, which includes all the colors, or you can buy the colors individually in a 2-pack. So what I'm going to do, and I am very new to this whole alcohol markers technique, but what I thought that I would do is color in the berries and the leaves, just show you a little bit of what I've learned just by trial and error. Okay, so I'm starting off with the lightest Cherry Cobbler, and these alcohol markers lay down the ink so smoothly, so it's just a light touch. And I've been watching this technique videos with other markers for quite a few years, and I know that normally you start off with the lightest color, come in and do your shading, and then go back with that light color to do the blending. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. And so where that dark part in the stamp is, that's where I'm going to just shade it with the dark Cherry Cobbler. And now I'm going to come back in with the light color and just tiny little circles, just blend those 2 colors together. Okay. And now I'm going to come in and do the same technique with Old Olive. So I've got the lightest shade first. Whoops, wrong side. And there's a brush end and a fine tip end, but for this I want to use the brush end. So I'm just going to come in and color. And like I said, and it's important to use the Memento Tuxedo ink when you're coloring with alcohol markers, because it's a dye ink and it won't smear. If you use other kind of inks, the ink potentially could smear. Okay, so I'm just coming in and laying down that darker color, and now I'm going to come back in and just blend it all out. And the other thing that will be available November 1st is also this color lifter. So I can kind of see right here, I got a little, whoops. You can see right there, I kind of got a little bit out of lines. So I'm going to use this color lifter and really think of it more as like a color pusher. It's going to push the ink back into where the leaves are, into where the green is. And then that will dry out. So again, this was the introduction to our Stampin' Blends. All right, so let me zoom out just a little bit. I hope y'all enjoyed that technique. I'm really looking forward to playing around with them more. All right, the next thing we're going to do is to punch it out using the 1.5 inch circle punch. Okay. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is just grab a piece of scrap piece of basic black cardstock, and it is the 3rd smallest scallop from our Layering Circles frame. Let's go ahead and take this to the Big Shot and punch this out. So it's going to look like that, and we're just going to layer those 2 together. Just going to use snail to do this. Okay, so our tag is all ready, so now let's go ahead and put our box together. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put some tear and tape on this small little flap. And then we're going to flip it over and we're going to put tape on these 3 flaps. Okay, and this larger flap, if you go across horizontally, and go ahead and put 2 strips down. Okay, and then this next one go down vertically. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is go ahead and burnish this and remove the backing strip. And this piece you want to be on the outside. I know that seems a little crazy, but the way this bag is designed, this flap goes on the outside. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold in these flaps, then this one, and then that. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of trimming. Like I see, I didn't cut this one very well, so let me trim this. So it's important for you to put your bottom together before you adhere it, just to make sure that it fits well. So there we go. Whoops, I'm sorry. So before I had a little bit hanging off. So if you have to do a little bit of trimming, just make sure you do that before you take all the backing strips off the tape. All right, so let's go ahead and remove these side strips first. Okay, and now we can go ahead and remove these strips. And this little gift bag is just so cute, can be used for so many different occasions, but you know, with the upcoming holidays, it's perfect, especially if you like to give little treats to friends, neighbors, coworkers, teachers, that thing. Whoops. And so there we go. And so we'll just pinch it in like so. But first, let's fill it up. And I'm just going to use just some Hershey Kisses. And you want to fill it up, you know, about 3/4 of the way. Just, you know, fill it up where the little window, you know, most of it's filled up. You don't want to fill it up too much. Okay, and then we're going to fold this over, just like so. Okay. And now I am using our mini tinsel trim. You can find this in our holiday catalog. It's a combo pack, so it comes silver and red. And I've already cut some here, and I've cut about 26 inches because what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around twice. So the easiest way I found is to start in the front, whoops, and then just wrap one side around. Oh, I know what I did. I also did this. Put a little bit of snail right here. That will help keep the lid closed, or part of the lid. Okay, so try this again. Okay, like so. Okay, now I'm just going to cut in and come in and just cut the tails. And the great thing about this tinsel trim is you can kind of like fluff up the bow if you want it to be a little bit bigger. Okay, so it looks like that. And then the last thing we're going to do is I just put a little bit of snail at the top of the tag. And then what I did is I just kind of slipped it up underneath the flap and just put it right there. And our little treat bag is all done. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh, I just love these. I think these are going to be so fun to give out this holiday season. All right, guys, well, if you liked today's project, be sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. Also, I would love for you to join my exclusive newsletter. I have the 12 weeks of Halloween. How about the 12 weeks of Christmas campaign going on? We're 4 weeks into it already, so if you want to get next week's newsletter, be sure that you head on over to my blog, istampin.com. At the very top, it will just say join my exclusive newsletter. You just put your name and email address and you'll be all set to start receiving weeks 5 through 12 next week. And if you have any questions about anything that I used today, again, that was using the Merry Cafe stamp set, and then also showing some brand new product with our Stampin' Blends. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.